So I'm Lynne Fott, and I'm with the McKenna Institute at the University of New Brunswick. And we're deeply honored to be part of this initiative. And what drives our work at the McKenna Institute is digital equity and allowing everyone within New Brunswick that access to the skills and tools that will help them in the digital world. In partnering with JEDI on the Wabanaki in Motion, it allows us to do that. We're reaching all the communities across New Brunswick and developing content that's very relevant, culturally relevant, giving them that access to those hands-on learning opportunities. And that's important for the Indigenous youth to be able to explore their technology in their own communities. With McKenna Institute being connected to the University of New Brunswick, it creates just a natural pathway to post-secondary pathways for us. And the university itself is deeply committed to providing the Indigenous youth and students a safe and honoring environment and helping with their success there. Um, then also we're also collaborating with faculty in computer science. They are helping us with the quantum unit, first in Atlantic Canada, and also the Faculty of Engineering, and they're helping us develop the hands-on programming, some post-secondary elements to that, so that helps expose the Indigenous youth to some post-secondary opportunities as well. Industry partners are key to this as well, so by bringing in industry partners to talk to the Indigenous youth, helps them sort of be able to be relatable to those STEAM careers. And they provide guidance, internship, training, and all of that as well. So we're very thankful to having those partners involved. And one of them being right now is with Talus, and they've had a training program and internship to some students, which you'll hear about. So yeah, at the end of the day, the Wabanaki in Motion, New Brunswick, is all about providing access and possibilities to Indigenous youth. I think there was a conversation from MasterCard Foundation. They saw the possibilities. They're a global organization that wants to reach out to Indigenous communities across the globe. And they saw that Atlantic Canada had that gap here. So they had initial conversations with the University of New Brunswick and McKenna Institute. And that's where we saw the partnership that was required from JEDI they brought in those rich communities relationships. With JEDI's partnership with McKenna Institute, they brought forward the relationships that they had culturally within their throughout their communities, and they were able to have that richness of understanding each of the uniqueness to all the communities around New Brunswick and where the gaps were as far as and the access. They knew that they knew that the communities didn't have the access or tools to provide this opportunity. So this is first in Atlantic Canada, and with it being a mobile unit, that's very unique, and being able to actually meet the Indigenous youth in their communities where they're at on their land, and to develop this and bring in the technology, and helping them feeling confident with that technology is enabling them to reach further careers, opportunities that they can even bring back to their communities as well. So the initial part of this project was we went out to communities just to understand what their needs were. How do they want to receive this mobile unit, as far as what did they want to see in it? How did they want to see it branded? So we wanted to listen to them. Obviously, that's two eyes, seeing. We wanted to really sit down and listen to them and understand that. And once we got that sense of what they needed, we realized then that how important it was and what they wanted it. They were so excited to have this come to their community. They've never had this opportunity. They've never had this interest externally from people to actually bring something of this caliber to their community. It was a different project. However, we incorporated the learnings from the Fab Lab into how we can incorporate that into the mobile unit and what was relevant to the older youth, and what they saw their possibilities, whether it was entrepreneurship, whether it was a pathway to post-secondary. They were able to visualize that realistically through their experience here at the Fab Lab. So in the naming exercise and branding of this project, we reached out to the elders and knowledge keepers within New Brunswick and brought them together for a working session. And they the way they embraced the whole initiative as far as bringing technology into their communities and being available to their youth, they were very excited, very enthused because they wanted to see that growth within their communities and they wanted that as possibilities and careers for their youth. So that was really interesting to me because as far as the technology, cultural side, traditional side I was very um, very apprehensive on that acceptance, and it was very evident that they wanted to see that growth. And then through the technology side, we're always looking with that Indigenous lens, as far as even with the quantum unit, we're looking how do quantum physics. It's so beyond and out there, but it certainly reflects the seven sacred teachings. It all sort of interconnects there. And even out in community listening to the elders talking about even engineering, you've got the beavers building their dams, like it's very land based, and you can make those connections pretty much with every piece of technology. And also just to see how they can integrate and grow I'm just noticing through some students here at the Fab Lab where they may be doing beading or traditional carvings or something like that, but they'll integrate the technology to help enhance that. So it's not taking away from it, it's enhancing it.
The trailer.
So we'll be launching in June, and with Keisha's help, we've helped develop the technology and the curriculum for this. So we're working with the schools as well as the communities, and we're going to be building out the awareness on the usage of this. And we also align the curriculum with the school board as far as what their outcomes are. And so they're very welcoming to that. It's something different and new and really engaging for the students. So we'll be at each of the schools for about a week at a time, and then within community for a week at a time as well. And incorporating different curriculum. We're sort of, we're looking for that older demographic, the 16 plus, and we're looking to see what's relevant to them, what's really the hot thing right now, whether it's gaming, whether it is drone usage, robotics, and space, obviously. Aerospace, right, is hot right now. So we're just looking at different things like that, like rockets, and just being able to bring this technology and this awareness to the Indigenous youth and opening their possibilities to them, like just opening opportunities to careers, to their own entrepreneurship goals, and understanding the exploration of and being confident with the technology. And even like, you look at the competencies of, problem solving, critical thinking, all of that is so important. It is integrated into the technology as well and the curriculum here too. So we're working with Jedi, and that's because of the partnership with Jedi. We have that outreach to their communities through their EDOs or ETOs, and then also through the schools. But also, we have a cultural officer as well that will be working with the communities to give that awareness. And we'll be on social media. We'll be out to powwows throughout the summer, and just really working by word of mouth. But yeah, and all that previous work with the communities, those sessions, those engagement sessions with the communities in the naming of it, they are aware of it. They're anxious for it. We're getting, inquiries already to how to book it and can they be part of this. We're hoping to have some type of legacy there within communities as far as whether it's going to be sustainable usage of technology or training for the like train the trainer type of thing. We want that to continue, and we will continuously do some follow-ups on those as well, with whether it may not be the trailer that comes back or the unit that comes back, but it'll be certain hands-on engagements. I wanted to go back to how it came about. Was like Frank McKenna's his legacy, what he wants for the McKenna Institute, is to provide digital access to everyone across New Brunswick. In all rural areas, there's obviously the data that's showing that they don't have access or don't have those opportunities, and that was the biggest gap that we found. And as far as within Indigenous communities. They just do not have the equipment, the opportunities, the training, or the skills sets to bring this to their communities. And the other part I wanted to say again, in the initial conversations with MasterCard and partnership agreement, um, their goals were to have this specifically for Indigenous youth. And Stan from Jedi was very adamant about, no, we want this to be integrated. Of course, we don't have Indigenous high schools here, so they go to the public high schools. And again, there was a very they stringent, you know, parameters around, we wanted Indigenous only. And Stan said, no, has to be part of the reconciliation, to invite these to non-Indigenous students to come on board and see the culture, because in the actual unit, there will be cultural identities in there, and really help them understand that. And that's what we're seeing, or we're hearing from not only the elders, but even the youth. They're saying, like, we don't understand what the opportunities are or what the possibilities are. When you hear computer science, you simply think about computer and coding and all of that. But every industry has some type of technology associated with it. So to integrate that into their thoughts as far as what can this technology lead to for a career, and then also to see themselves like, to have an astronaut in space, to understand that playing with technology in your community can build that interest, and then further move you along the pathway to post-secondary, and then eventually be the astronaut in space would be really cool. And even as far as seeing themselves, we've heard very strongly that they need to see themselves in those careers. So when they see their, you know, other Indigenous leaders and within STEAM careers, they're relatable and they're achievable. The funding goes until August 2027. Um, so however, future funding is available, and if we can make this sustainable and grow it as an initiative, I'm sure future funding will be coming. I know, like as I said, there's industry partners that are already showing interest, and once it's in place and out into communities and seeing the impact that it has, and interest that it has, I'm sure we're going to be getting future support there. And like that journey, and I know that we've got a full learning management system that the students can follow along. But if we can show that impact as far as, just their interest, and from the impact, what we've seen in Fab Lab here is some of them have gone on to careers and their own businesses. So that growth and independence is really important. And a lot of them too are even interested in going back to their communities and bringing their knowledge back to the communities too. And we're looking at, again, we go back to problem solving. So if there's problems within community, there's initial grow bots and thermal heating for greenhouses. We can work all that. So there could be, that could help a problem of food insecurity within a community. So that full problem thought solving and critical thinking is really important. I think it's just opening up the possibilities to these youth, like to see them so engaged we haven't done very many engagements, but to see them, how engaged they are at a younger age. But it's to help the older youth see where their potential. And we were even in a conversation yesterday with Dell, and they have Girls Who Game program, and they're gaming all across, and they're wanting to bring the Indigenous. So we've talked to Nisa and to Keisha, so we're going to bring that into this. So there's like cohorts of girl gamers, and not realizing that they're coding, but then again, it's a full project, and of again bringing in that critical thinking and the problem solving of how do they work with this community. And they're building on Minecraft all these these unique projects. So it's really kind of cool, and it piques their interest, and it's relevant to them.